Hey guys, welcome back to the Noble Broker Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Lickstein, and today we have a special session. It's our second mobile session, but this one's unique. Not only is this vehicle used to transport for work and assisting consumers, but it is the place where we're assisting consumers. So today I have with me team lead of the KB Premier Group, Mr. Kyle Belanger. Kyle, welcome. You got to tell me, why here? Why this unit? Why do you need to be this mobile unit for your consumers, showing houses, closing, signing documents, having a nice little sip of that reposado tequila we just saw? Why did you just decide to do this?
So we wanted to separate ourselves aside from the business. In this real estate market in South Florida, there is a plethora of agents out there. What we wanted to do, obviously, is offer a level of service, professional service, that is for the clients, for the consumers. Having this mobile office has not only helped as far as a business, it is, I think, an extra edge over other agents that are just going out showing properties. So if we're able to offer a shuttle to these properties, or what we have been using this office for has been a mobile closing office. So being able to close in the parking lot of their work, or going to the property that they're closing on and closing right in the driveway, it offers that extra level of service, which I think is a memorable experience.
You just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
An experience.
Absolutely.
Everything that's related to a service or a relationship is about the experience you create, and you're doing something really unique, and I'm sure it's definitely left an impact on consumers you've worked with, which makes it easier for them to share that experience and gain you more referrals. Have you noticed an increase in referrals since you started doing this?
Oh, 100%. I mean, our production, our growth has been through the roof. I mean, I think that this year, 2024, is going to be our record year. Very, very happy about that. It's a big, pat in the back. And we're just only, looking forward and seeing to the future what 2025 is going to bring. I think this is, for the most part, what I consider is the only mobile closing office right now. So we may have some competition out there once they see, how well we've been doing, but it doesn't scare us. Our work performance speaks for itself.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. So what are some, can you give a story for us, perhaps? Yeah. A situation where this really came in handy and helped ease the signing, ease the closing, or help get your consumer across the finish line, instead of having to go sit in a stuffy conference room for hours on end and take out of their day.
Absolutely. Just recently, about a month and a half ago, we were closing with a doctor and their family. Obviously, we all know doctors have insane schedules, not just real estate agents, but we were able to close in between some of their surgeries or appointments right there at the hospital. It was something that, they were very appreciative of. We not only had, the support from our, client to make it happen and to make sure that we were, in a comfortable environment at the parking lot, but we had their staff, some of their peers, some of their supervisors come out and kind of document the experience as well. So it's not just something that we're just looking, just for that specific transaction. This is something much more than that. And I think it's telling a story, it's providing an experience, it's something that's going to be talked about, not just on closing day, but for, the future days after that.
Sharing the experience.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Life is about experiences.
Yes,
and people love to talk about them.
Yep.
So please tell me, as a fellow dad, that you took the opportunity for that dad joke when he walked in here. Did you say the doctor is in?
The doctor is in. Absolutely.
So you kind of had a unique pathway in getting into real estate. Everybody has a story.
Yes.
Somebody asked them, somebody told them, or something happened in your life that caused you to jump off of whatever career you were working on and get into real estate. Your background had a lot to do with marketing and creating experiences and relationships. How did that get you into real estate, or how did you get into real estate? Either way.
So, rewinding years and years ago, I was 15 years in the restaurant industry. I overlooked and managed some of the most extravagant properties. South Beach, Florida. I was overlooking Barton G, the restaurant, Versace Mansion, shot down to Fort Lauderdale. I was operating, YOLO vibe.
Was that a joke? Versace shot down?
Yeah. Okay, no, yeah, right? No pun intended. So. But shot down to Fort Lauderdale once I had my kids, thinking, being closer to home would be beneficial. But it was just still the long hours and, weekdays or weekends and nights and holidays that I was working that was kind of taking me away from the family. So I just turned 30 years old and wanted to do something different. I wanted to be more involved with the family, being able to attend baseball games and, ice skating lessons, whatever it is, just to be that awesome dad. And, not to mention I was almost being burnt out with the business, but also comfortable with the golden handcuffs is what they would say. Made a joke with the wife on how I was thinking about real estate. She said, go for it. You look like a property brother, why not?
I can see that. I didn't think about that before.
Yeah. Oh, I've got that. I'm the third brother, never see on the HGTV, but, it was something that I kind of, hit home. And it was something where what was that, 2018, but in 2016, we bought our first house and I was very passionate about it. I used a good friend of mine, who I was probably one of those PIA buyers, pain in the ass, sorry, but I was overlooking some of the contracts going out, resourcing some of the houses or looking at houses, setting up schedules or showings, which I was that one buyer I hate having to work with because I'm always like, do not reach out to agents, do not contact, I was that guy. So I definitely had a passion behind it, trying to locate our first home. We bought in 2016 in South Florida, and it just didn't stop there. I was almost, even after buying, and I'm sure we're all guilty of it, we're still looking at Zillow, Realtor, sure. Redfin. I still, to this day, I'm still looking at houses, just kind of seeing, what else is out there for us, not so much for my clients. But I will say that was a passion that I had coming into the business. But, very fortunate and very happy with the how would I put it, the network and the client base that we've had so far.
It's an interesting thing to transition from. The restaurant management side is a lot of hustle.
Yes.
But it's hustle with structure, and you know exactly what your day is going to look like. You walk in, you're definitely here, and you have X amount of people you have to relate to or manage and motivate. But there's curveballs on site, but there's not curveballs that are running you around while you're thinking about something else, et cetera, back and forth. But real estate was a good transition because you had a lot of experience with building relationships, a lot of experience with managing and multitasking, and marketing and promotions. We just described real estate, take the food away.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an easy transition. Now you're doing something that I would probably never venture to do, which is you live and you manage your family with your wife. You have two kids, one boy, one girl. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love kids, best thing ever. Until they turn teenagers, and then it's best time maybe.
That's true.
But you are working not only on your family with your wife, but you work in your business with your wife as well. How do you guys manage that balance between when you're husband and wife and mom and dad versus when you're partners in business and pushing forward?
Yeah, well, great question. I will say, I got to give credit where credit is due. That's my wife. She's the one that kind of pushed me into this business, and I pulled her right in with me. So she's been the rock with this whole real estate experience, with the team, with everything real estate related. So at first she started off behind the scenes, where I am not crazy about paperwork and having to do the processing, where she's been a whiz when it comes to that stuff. She's helped me out a lot behind the scenes, where after a while I was like, what, we got to get you in the front lines with me, listing appointments, inspections, you name it. I want her there. I want her to see how the business really is aside from just the office setting. So at times it's difficult. They always say don't take work home with you, but it's crazy because we're a different person. That's why they always say different people. Opposites attract, absolutely. But I will say that we're very compatible with business, with personal life, and we're able to kind of juggle both, especially with the kids. It was great too, because just the other day I'm at the bank, I think, and one of the tellers was asking my boy, what he wanted to be when he grew up. And my boy said a realtor. And I looked at him as I'm stopping to do paperwork.
You never would have expected that.
And I said, it was almost like the Adam Sandler scene. No, you don't. You don't want to do this. But it was almost...
Stay here as long as you can.
Exactly. But it was almost at the same time, it just, my heart was like, oh, gosh. So I always tell them, as soon as you're at age, you're going to get your license. You're going to be my showing agents. You're going to be my guys out there in the field. And hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to kind of piggyback this. And, they both have the same initials as dad. So KB Premier Group is going to go on to KB Premier, for...
What are your kids' names?
Kira and Caden.
Love that.
Yes.
So I did the same thing. All of my kids are JLs.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah. I'm KL. They're KL.
Oh, that's so with that transition, that had to be a really interesting experience. I know it shocked you to hear your child say, I want to be a realtor.
Yes.
But how did that change the way you kind of think or act in front of them while you're doing business?
It changes a lot, because you want to be that role model. You want to be that awesome dad. And I know at times, especially with a 10-year-old or 7-year-old, we could be boring. We could be lame. But I know deep down the kids are definitely happy of their parents, especially when we got our faces on the side of a truck here, or we're at, in front of a house with a bill, our for sale sign. It definitely, I think in a way, they're very proud of who their mom and dad are. Because
farming is super important when you're trying to get yourself going and when you're trying to expand in local marketplaces. So you guys live in Plantation. You have this, being able to park at your place. Do you take it, if you have to go grocery shopping, do you take the car or do you take this?
I find myself taking this every chance that I can get. I mean, even if it's just a Publix to grab, a gallon of milk. I mean, it's difficult to park, don't get me wrong, but I've been used to large vehicles before. I mean, my second vehicle is a Chevy Suburban, so I got the Land Yacht. This is the Land Jet. But it's definitely a challenge parking, but I whip this thing around like a Camry. I find wherever there's a spot, I'll be able to make it happen, especially too at a Dolphins game where you have thousands of vehicles. You're going to find me up front somewhere. But yeah, definitely this is our grocery getter, which is not a bad grocery getter.
I've never heard anyone describe driving a Camry as whipping around a Camry. So I'll give that to you. I'll give you the race car driver award for that one. So when you're talking about farming your local area, living in Plantation, driving it around any chance that you get, how have you found that to change conversations when you go on, let's say, a listing appointment? Is that something that you bring up? Is that something the seller brings up?
Well, as soon as we pull up to a listing appointment and they see this, I mean, the conversation just doesn't start with their house. I think it's about the truck. It's being able to, not only move into the house right away. I find ourselves, I've had listing appointments in here. They don't even want to go into the house. They'd rather stay inside here. So I think it already kind of puts me ahead of our competition if we look at it that way, where they kind of see that, I may be the underdog compared to some of these guys that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. I've only been doing this for maybe 7, 8 years, who's keeping count. But, I will say that my work performance, my drive will outperform all these other guys. It's just also, too, is being able to offer something that they've never seen before. So listing appointments, I go in with much more confidence and having my head up and having my best foot forward of understanding who we are walking through their door, who's going to represent their property and their home at the end of the day. And it's definitely been something that I can, again, pat myself on the back and say, listen, this has been beneficial, and it just doesn't stop at their house. If we're at just a listing appointment, we're doing, showings, we're doing inspections. As many times as we're going to that one property, their neighbors are seeing it. And we find ourselves not only representing that house, but it's going to go throughout the whole neighborhood. Hopefully, we can represent a whole, neighborhood in one appointment, but it's something that I think goes a long way.
I completely agree. It's become so common to see a real estate sign or a roofer sign or something like that in the front yard. And driving down the street, you don't really notice them that much anymore. I don't think you could have any bigger sense of exposure than parking this baby right out front when you're doing an open house or even on the listing appointment, etc. It is marketing you everywhere you are, whether you're in it, you're driving it, or you're talking to somebody. It's happening. It's a beautiful thing. Is there anything that you would have done differently? You've been in the business for about 7 years now. Is there anything you would have done differently in the beginning that lessons learned at this point?
Listen, talk less, listen more. Wish I got my license earlier, because for what I have going on right now with the business, and I don't consider it a waste of the 15 years I spent in the restaurant side, because like I said, I definitely piggyback on that network and I'm using it to a positive within the real estate market. But I can't say that I would regret anything that I would change or something that I've done differently. I think I'm on a good course for what we're doing with the business, and I only look to be better, and now that I have the wife who's licensed, and I got her license a couple years ago, is probably the smartest thing I've done. And there's other spouses selling houses out there, but like I said, our work performance speaks for itself. If you look at it, how many McDonald's and Wendy's and all different sorts of fast food chains are there, it's all about, providing that service, providing that level of satisfaction or that experience, that goes a long way. So I don't want to say that I should change anything. It's maybe if I did, it's probably I should have got licensed sooner. Not around the boom of 2008, but I
don't think you'd be having the same experience now. I mean, we become who we are through our experiences.
That's true.
And that 15 years in that role in that career made you who you are today.
Yeah, I agree.
If you had done it 5 years in, there's definitely lessons over that last 10 that you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And maturing as well.
Yep.
I could easily say if I had started at 20. I would definitely not be the same person if I had started at 25, 30, 32, etc.
Yeah.
Right? You change through your years. Spouses selling houses. Is that kind of the tagline for the team?
That's been the tagline before. We had turning dreams into an address. And that's the same thing. I mean, we're just it's the spouses selling houses. It's ladies and gentlemen taking care of ladies and gentlemen, creating that comfort. When you walk into an appointment, you have your husband, you have your wife. And they're able to relate because, I mean, guys can talk all day. We can talk sports, houses, real estate market, or just the market in general, while the ladies talk about, the finer things in life, the decor and, the design and the feng shui of things. But I definitely think it's been more of a personal touch, and we're just not another robot realtor. We're somebody that definitely has the drive of wanting to help, all of these families accomplish their goals throughout the years. So it's been good. It's been more than good. I think we've been blessed with the opportunity to help those, as far as just not only family and friends, but it's the repeat clients, the referral base that's been tremendous over the years.
When you have referral business and repeat business and past clients sharing that information, that experience with others, that's when you're doing it right.
Yes, exactly. For 2025, obviously 2024 was a roller coaster. 7-8% interest rates, little to no inventory. That is changing, obviously, as we're getting closer to 2025. But every market is a challenge. I mean, yes, it's, as I said before, I'm going up against the guys that have been doing it 20, 30 years, but we're all dealing with the same market. Nobody's really dealt with this after COVID. So it's been very rewarding. The juice is always worth the squeeze. So.
Now, you say you're looking forward to opportunities next year, and they're going to be plentiful.
Yeah.
Seeing kind of the trajectory of where we are, inventory has increased extensively.
Mm-hmm.
During COVID, we all talked about we need more houses, we need more inventory, we need more options. There's just not enough out there. But now inventory has grown, and interest rates are still staying pretty high. So as those trickle down, you've got the inventory with a reduced interest rate. Mm-hmm. It's a massive opportunity for buyers to get off of that fence and get into their new home in 2025 at a reasonable price, at a reasonable rate, before rates go down too far, demand goes up, and then your supply starts to increase in price. So tremendous opportunity coming in the first half of 2025. Real excited to see what happens. So if you are interested or you're curious and you need some exposure, how do we find KB Premier Group? Where would somebody find you?
Well, you find us all across our social media channels. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. You can find us at kbpremiergroup.com. For all of the website things going on and real estate news and tips and tricks, but our Instagram handles and our Facebook handles and all that is the KB Premier Group, and we're constantly putting out a lot of information.
So if you provide the exposure and the authenticity, mm-hmm. you will get the results, you will build the relationships, and you'll have the conversations that lead to transactions, and that's no bull. 100%. I appreciate you being on, Kyle.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it.